Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode here on the Juice Footage Garage. So what I had done recently was install the 6-liter with the transmission that we got a junkyard pool without rebuilding. And I should have checked this first, but when I went under the car to change the filter of the transmission pan, and I noticed there was a whole bunch of metal in it, so I ended up just putting the engine and trans back out. So I got it rebuilt. So I got a stage 2 built by Juan's Transmissions and Gardena. There it is right there. Looks pretty good. It had a cracked ear. He went ahead and welded that for me. Put a new pan down there for me. Didn't charge me for the pan, but got a little stage 2 built. I got a little Circle D converter right here. 3000 stall. I already went ahead and put some oil in it. Juan's Transmission and Gardena actually runs these on the transmission dyno first, gets them running. So the converter already had oil, so I didn't have to, but I just figured I'd top it off anyways. Yeah, so let's go ahead and repeat the process and put this engine and trans back in the car again. Alright guys, so before I install the transmission onto the engine and onto the car, I wanted to put on our new shifter. I actually got a Shiftwork shifter. Where is it at? It's one of those Shiftwork shifters. It looks like a stock shifter, but it has the shifter lockout, so you don't like run all the way down to reverse when you're racing. Because we have this one, so we have to make it look something like this. Here's our cable, and from Shiftworks. I figure I do this now that the trans is off, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, actually guys, thinking about it, no, I'm gonna go ahead and put the trans first. I see that it's only 2 brackets. It's only one here and one here with the linkage. So it's probably best that I put it in first, and then I get to see which bracket works best for me, because there's multiple brackets. So I'll do that. What I may do is, while the transmission is out, I might shove this in the hole just to make it easier for me. Yeah, that's probably going to be the best thing I can do so far. What I do want to mention is make sure you get the spacer here, because the converter has this little snout here. A little snout needs to fit in here. So what I'm gonna do here to make it easy, I'm gonna put it on this side first, and then I'm just gonna guide this into that. So that's a go at least. Let's share this bad boy. Alright guys, I busted a sweat for sure. I cannot get the transmission on there without the converter bottoming out. If I utilize the spacer, this guy, I ended up having to remove it, which I should have measured first, to be honest, but since I had already done this before, I assumed that I needed the spacer like I did with the stock converter, but with the Circle D I didn't need it. So yeah. So now let's move on to installing the torque converter bolts to the flywheel, and then we'll torque them. So yeah. So what I'm gonna do here is just gonna put them on by hand first. Go ahead and turn this bad boy. All right. Alright guys, so I just retorqued all the bolts to make sure. I put a marker on each one to make sure I didn't miss one, but it looks good. And if I can show you guys here, There it is. I don't know if you guys can see, but the snout is inside of the flywheel. It's kind of hard to see. Alright guys, so now what we're going to do here is we're going to reinstall our lines to get more clearance under the car. And right here in the front, we got the flat one. In the back, we have a little long. Here it is right here. Little long one. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and use these bad boys right here. These are called banjo fittings, and they're gonna give us a lot more clearance. So well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back under the car changing out the converter bolts. I didn't realize that they provided their own nice hardware with their own little Loctite from Circle D. So I should have checked the box first before putting the converter bolts that came with the flywheel. I should have checked the box of the Circle D and see that they provided their own recommended bolts. Yep, I'm just a failure trying not to fail, so here I am replacing those bolts. On the bright side, they do look a lot better. So alright, ladies and gentlemen, well, we can't dwell on the past, so let's keep this show going. So we're gonna go ahead and install our valley cover. Of course, install the new valley cover gasket, just a typical Velcro that you get at the auto parts store. Went ahead and installed the valley cover bolts hand tight first. Then I went ahead and grabbed my knock sensors, screwed them in hand tight also, just to make sure that everything aligns well. And I worked the bolts from the center out just to make sure I have a good seal. I went ahead and torqued the valley cover bolts to 18 foot-pounds after snugging them down with the electric ratchet. And my knock sensors were 15 pounds. There it is, 15 pounds. So yeah, came out pretty good. We installed new knock sensors. I always run knock sensors, guys. My tuner always recommends them. I know some people say, oh, you could delete them. I don't know. I think it's a good tool to have to make sure that, you know, your engine is running fine. Knock will destroy your engine. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and start cleaning this intake manifold so we can slap it on. This is an Ls3 intake manifold with the famous gold Ls3 throttle body, drive-by-wire. So this is a nice little setup here. I got this from my buddy, but my buddy had it sitting around, so I want to go ahead and take it apart, clean it, make sure there's no debris in it, no trash. Also, my kids are always in the garage, so I want to make sure that nothing fell in it. I like to clean these first with the brush. It knocks off all the gunk real easy, all the trash, all the dirt, dust. Just get in there and knock all this stuff off, and then get some brake cleaner and get the greasy stuff off. You know, typical microfibers absorb all that gunk. I don't like to let it sit so much in there. I feel like the brake cleaner could discolor the plastic, so I just like wipe it real quick and clean it. I mean, probably won't do any harm to it, but I don't know, just my OCD, I guess. So I like to shove microfibers with the long screwdriver into the intake manifold and just scrape it up real good, get all that old buildup out. Spray a ton of brake cleaner in there and just get those runners brand spanking new again. You know, have this thing flow like it just came out of the showroom floor. So, you know, as you guys can see, I'm using a hefty amount of brake cleaner, my long screwdriver to get all that gunk off. Microfibers are great, guys. They absorb all that gunk. Look at that. Look at that microfiber. It's all muggy. So yeah, here's another angle. Looks good, huh, guys? The manifold, guys, I literally spray can, brake clean the whole thing, a whole bunch. I've been putting compressed air in there and blowing out. I just want to make sure there's nothing in there. It's been sitting around here in my garage. My kids come in here, they play with every little nut and bolt, so I want to make sure that nothing got in there. So I'm cleaning it up real good. I've been spraying a whole bunch of brake cleaner in here, and it looks pretty clean now, honestly. So I'm gonna continue to. Right now, all I'm using is a wet towel, just because I'm just getting the water off of it. But I must have gone through like a whole bunch of cans, maybe 3 or 4 cans of brake cleaner, so it's pretty clean. This is a factory Ls3 intake manifold. We're using these plates. I ordered those plates because I wanted to raise it up a little bit, because I didn't want to have to deal with like tapping these or buying a valley cover. I figured the easiest thing to do is buy those things, which is cool because it's going to raise the manifold off the block, which keeps it cooler. So that's a good thing, and it looks cooler. It's going to look like a little aftermarket one. So that's what we're going with. Alright guys, so what we're going to do real quick here is just blow it all out, make sure we get all the water off of it and everything that I sprayed on this thing to clean it, just to make sure it's real nice and clean. What we also did here is quality control our runners, just make sure there's no debris in there, blew them all out. So this intake manifold is ready to roll, guys. It's ready to roll. Alright guys, so I'm going to reassemble the intake manifold. I ended up spraying it with a little bit of like, kind of like Armor All, some type of like plastic preserver or whatever it's called. Like it protects like the plastic and stuff. Real thin, nothing too crazy, because I don't want the dirt to get stuck to it, so I don't want to cake it on there. But I did want it to, you know, look brand new again, and I think we achieved that today. It looks really nice. It looks brand new again. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of oil on all these holes here. Put the fuel rails back on. Put the new throttle body gasket. Put the new O-ring gaskets. I have to put some O-rings on this too. So let's get to it, guys. So let's start with our brand new O-rings. And what I like to do is this. I don't have a camera holder right now, so I'll show you guys like this. What I like to do is I like to just get a little bit of oil, engine oil, and then just get the whole thing nice and lubricated and slap them in there. So I know some people like to put oil on here or grease. I like to just put a little bit of engine oil, 1 drop, and then just get it nice and lubed, just to kind of preserve the seal, prevent it from getting stuck, and just make the little rubber last a little bit longer. And if you ever need to take it off, it doesn't like tear, get stuck, or anything like that. Or at least that's the idea. And at this point I have enough in my fingers, so just kind of keep going. That's pretty good. Go ahead and get some on our throttle body. And we're going to do exactly the same thing. Got a little bit of oil. We're just going to go around the O-ring. That's it. And what we're trying to do here is just make sure that we don't tear it. You know? That's all we want to do. We don't want to tear it when it goes in there. So a little bit of oil. And just get your finger in there. Well, don't do what I do, guys. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So don't do what I do, but it goes like this, I think. All right. Make sure they're all in the same. They're all in their little pocket. All right, that's in your. You're in your pocket. You're in your pocket. You're all in your pocket, and then push down. Push down evenly. There it is. I want to make sure we don't tear anything. All right. This thing looks brand spanking new. Look at that, guys. Tell me that doesn't look like we bought a brand new one. This thing was off of a used car. It was all dirty. All right, guys. So this is the reason why I bought the spacers, just to show you guys. See the teeter-totter? That's because we have an earlier model 6.0 that has the knock sensors on top, and we have these big old bolts. So you can see we have some stuff that's going to make it for our LS3 intake to have some little obstructions there. So let's go ahead and put our spacers on. All right, guys. So these spacers, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm not ultimately happy with them, because when you put them on, and I'll show you guys here, I notice that they don't quite align right. Of course, I don't have it perfect right now, but there's definitely some areas where you can improve on it if you were to port it. I'm not going to, guys, because I'm not taking the heads off again, so I'm just going to run it like that. I'm not building a, you know, a kill machine, so I'm just going to build a nice street strip car that I could have fun with. So I'm not too worried about squeezing everything out of it, but I know that there's going to be a little bit of obstruction there, turbulence when the air comes in, because there's like a little lip there. We'll see right now. Once we torque it, maybe it goes away. I don't know. But as of now, let's go ahead and put our supplied O-rings. So they did give us O-rings for this, and they gave us new bolts, which is fantastic. Same deal, guys. Get a little bit of oil and slap them in there. This is definitely a harder material rubber than the factory, but it's pretty nice actually. Seems pretty durable. Alright, it's a little bit rough to do. You really got to put a little bit of strength on it, to be honest, but it's not hard at all. It's just takes a little bit of willpower there. Alright. Now, one thing I have heard is that a lot of people get like vacuum leaks with this. I'm thinking that maybe because they weren't torqued properly, or the O-ring wasn't pushed in all the way, maybe. I don't know. But I'm using brand new O-rings on the intake manifold, and they gave us some here, so I'm hoping we don't have any vacuum leaks. But a lot of people put like copper gasket or whatever. I don't think we need to though. Okay. Alright, guys. So this is the first one here. It's gonna go like this. Alright. So let's go. You see how we have just the smallest of turbulence, but that's what we're gonna have to work with, guys, because I'm not gonna port match those heads. There's no way I'm taking them off again. So yeah. So alright, guys, so I noticed that it doesn't sit flush. I don't know if you guys can see there. It doesn't sit flush, but what I'm seeing is that it's hitting right here in these little nubs. So I think we have to grind them off. So I'm gonna cover this thing all up real good. I'm gonna grind them off so we can get these things to sit flush, because they don't sit flush. It's hitting right there. Got a big old gap. Of course, nothing ever goes as planned. So let's go ahead and take that little corner off and see if it helps. Alright guys, so what I ended up doing here is I shoved a whole bunch of paper towels in here, and then I covered it with some rags, and then I just have a little nubby we're gonna cut. So hopefully we don't get no little paper, no little plastic shavings in there. So let's give that a shot. So I want to avoid having the rags get all crazy with me. So let's try this. That should help. Like that, we don't hit the... That should be fine. Alright guys, so I think we did pretty good. We cut it out, so it used to look like that, a little nubby. Let's see if I can get you guys a better angle. That little nub right there was on this side, which helps you align the intake manifold. So we took it off, so hopefully this will help us. Well, let's give it a shot. Alright, how does this thing go? Like this. Oh, yep, much better. Much better. Okay, so that's what the issue was. So let's go ahead and knock out the other side and try this again. Okay, nubby number 1 and nubby number 2 are gone. So let's try again. Trial and error, guys. Trial and error. You know, it is what it is. All right. Yeah, that's nice actually. I don't have a problem with that at all. Yeah, that's pretty nice. It looks like everything's sitting flush. Yeah, everything's flat. Alright. Alright, let's see where we're at with bolts. They did supply us with bolts, which is awesome. Okay. Let's see where we're at, guys. Come on. Alright. Oh, we're in. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to follow the torque sequence correctly, not just do hand tight, because I heard a lot of people say that they have vacuum leaks and la la la. So I'm just going to follow, you know, the GM torque spec sequence, 44 inch-pound in sequence, and then 89 inch-pound per sequence. Pulled out the baby little Mako, so it should be a breeze. 10. Alright guys, well this concludes today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. In typical G's footage fashion, we take one step forward, 2 or 3 steps backwards. But hey, with all those mistakes, we always learn something new, which is always a good thing. You gotta look at the bright side of things. And we never give up on this channel, so we learn from our mistakes and we correct them and we keep moving forward. So yeah guys, with that being said, we did get a lot done in this episode. We got our engine and trans back in the car with our freshly rebuilt stage 2 trans. We torqued our converter to the flywheel with the proper hardware, those nice grade A gold ones. We reinstalled our starter. We cleaned our intake manifold and modified it to fit our ICT plates. We installed new knock sensors, all that good stuff. So we're really moving along now. And on our next episode, we're gonna really storm through a lot of stuff. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe, guys. I would really appreciate it. It is a lot of hard work to produce these episodes. Being that, you know, the fan bam's always like in constant motion. and it's just a lot of hard work, guys. So it means a lot when you guys like, share, and subscribe. All right, guys. With that being said, I'll see you guys later.
I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside